When life is smooth, when the skies are clear, when success is flowing, anyone can wear a smile and call it faith. But the true test of character, the true measure of strength, is not how you stand in the light, it is how you walk through the storm. When everything around you collapses, when plans fail, when doors close, and when you feel abandoned by fortune itself, there is only one thing that separates those who rise again from those who are defeated. That one thing is the power to stay positive. Positivity is not naive optimism. It is not pretending the pain doesn't exist. It is not closing your eyes to the storm. No, positivity in its truest form is the unshakable decision to believe in victory even while standing in the ruins. It is the refusal to let the outer world dictate the state of your inner world. It is the conscious act of directing your mind toward hope, possibility, and opportunity when everything else screams despair. Remember this, adversity is not the enemy. Failure is not your grave. Hardship is not your executioner. They are teachers, each one sent to strengthen your courage, sharpen your vision, and reveal your true power. Most people allow negativity to consume them in times of crisis. They let fear rule their decisions, anger poison their thoughts, and hopelessness blind their vision. But the ones who keep a positive mind, even when all else is shattered, are the ones who find a way forward. Think of the great men and women who achieved greatness. None of them rose without difficulty. None of them triumphed without setbacks. The difference was simple. They refused to surrender their minds to despair. They stood tall in the darkest nights, and their belief in possibility turned those nights into dawns of new opportunity. When everything falls apart, that is the moment to speak power into your own heart. Tell yourself, this is not the end. This is the beginning of a new strength within me. Tell yourself, I am not defined by this failure. I am defined by my persistence. Tell yourself, though the world may collapse around me, I carry within me a light that cannot be extinguished. This light is your positivity, and it is stronger than any darkness. Positivity is not something that appears only when life is going smoothly. It is a conscious choice you must make regardless of the conditions surrounding you. Many people believe that positivity is a natural result of having wealth, health, and comfort, but true positivity is forged in the fire of trials. It is not the absence of difficulty, but the decision to keep hope alive when everything else tries to extinguish it. When everything around you is falling apart, you still have control over one thing, your mindset. That choice becomes the seed of either your strength or your defeat. Think of the storms that come unexpectedly. Plans collapse, relationships fail, financial struggles arrive, or health challenges shake your life. In those moments, you have two paths: surrender to negativity or choose to see beyond the immediate pain. Negativity convinces you that there is no way forward, that you are a victim of circumstances beyond your control. But positivity whispers that there is still a lesson, still a chance, still a reason to stand tall and fight again. The moment you realize positivity is not dependent on circumstances, you discover freedom. For circumstances change, but your ability to choose your outlook remains constant. It is easy to let the environment dictate your state of mind. If people around you are complaining, you may feel like complaining too. If fear dominates the atmosphere, you may absorb it without realizing. But a strong mind decides deliberately, no matter what happens outside, I will govern what happens inside. This is not denial, it is mastery. It is the understanding that you cannot always control the external world, but you can always control the internal world. And the state of your inner world eventually shapes the direction of your outer world. When you choose positivity in the midst of chaos, you begin to see opportunities where others see only dead ends. You find strength to rise again when others remain on the ground. You open your mind to solutions that negativity would have blinded you from. Even science shows that a positive mindset allows your brain to think more clearly, make better decisions, and persevere longer. So positivity is not just a comforting thought. It is a practical power that produces real results. The beauty of this truth is that every new day offers you another chance to choose. You may have been negative yesterday, but today you can decide to shift. You may have spent weeks consumed by fear, but this moment can mark the turning point where you say, I will no longer let circumstances control me. Each choice strengthens your ability to stand firm when the next storm arrives. Slowly, positivity becomes your habit, your character, and your natural state of being. Life will always test you. Situations will rise and fall. Fortunes will come and go. People may stay or leave. But as long as you remember that positivity is not a product of what happens to you, but of what you choose within you, nothing can defeat you. It is your weapon, your shield, and your foundation. And once you decide to make positivity your choice, no circumstance has the power to break you. Adversity is often viewed as an enemy, something to be avoided, feared, or resented. Yet hidden within every challenge is the seed of strength, a power that cannot be discovered in times of comfort. When life is easy, the muscles of the mind remain unused, but when storms come and everything familiar begins to break, you are forced to grow, to expand, and to reach deeper within yourself than you ever imagined. Adversity has a way of introducing you to parts of your character you never knew existed. It pulls from you a strength that comfort would never demand and reveals that you are far stronger than you ever believed. Every setback is a lesson disguised as a hardship. A closed door is not a permanent defeat, but a redirection towards something greater. Pain, disappointment, and loss are not there to destroy you, but to refine you. Just as fire shapes and strengthens steel, adversity shapes and strengthens the human spirit. It burns away weakness, it melts away self-pity, and it forces you to rise above what you thought were your limits. You cannot build resilience in times of ease. It is only in the face of pressure that resilience is born. Think about the greatest achievers and the most powerful examples of courage. Their lives were not defined by the absence of difficulty, but by the way they confronted it. They fell, but they got up. They faced rejection, but they kept moving. They lost, but they refused to quit. It was the adversity itself that prepared them for their destiny. Without it, their strength would have remained hidden, their courage untested, and their potential unrealized. In this way, adversity is not your downfall. It is your training ground. In moments of trial, you may feel as though you have been abandoned, that the pain is senseless and the suffering meaningless. But adversity is never without purpose. Every difficulty stretches you, sharpens your focus, and forces you to develop qualities that nothing else could have produced. Patience is born through waiting when you want to give up. Courage is born through standing firm when you want to run. Wisdom is born through reflecting on your failures instead of resenting them. Strength is not given, it is built, and adversity is the hammer that forges it. Adversity also reveals truth. It exposes who is real in your life and what truly matters. It teaches you the value of persistence, the importance of faith, and the reality that nothing worthwhile comes without a price. The lessons you gain through struggle cannot be stolen from you, and they become the foundation upon which your future is built. What once seemed like a crushing weight becomes the very thing that strengthens your back to carry greater responsibility. So when adversity comes, do not curse it. Do not waste your energy fighting the reality of it. Instead, embrace it as an ally in disguise. Say to yourself, this too is preparing me for something greater. Every hardship endured with persistence becomes a stepping stone to higher ground. Every challenge faced with courage becomes a story of victory. Adversity is not your enemy. It is your silent teacher, patiently shaping you into the strongest version of yourself. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not against people, situations, or even the unpredictable storms of life, but against the thoughts and emotions that try to control you when circumstances seem overwhelming. Mind over circumstances is the ability to hold steady within, even when everything around you is falling apart. It is the realization that while you may not control what happens to you, you always control how you interpret it, how you respond, and how you move forward. Circumstances can be harsh, but they are never stronger than a disciplined and determined mind. When the world outside seems uncertain, the first instinct is often to panic, to let fear dictate every action. But fear clouds judgment and blinds you from seeing solutions. The mind, when properly trained, can rise above this storm and look beyond the immediate chaos. It sees opportunity in difficulty, clarity in confusion, and hope in despair. This is the true strength of mastering your mind. It grants you vision when others see only darkness. By keeping your mind calm and focused, you place yourself above your circumstances instead of being crushed beneath them. Consider how two people can face the same problem yet produce completely different outcomes. One gives in to hopelessness and declares it impossible, while the other looks at the same situation and finds a way forward. The difference is not the problem, but the mindset. Circumstances test everyone, but only those who rule their minds rise above them. It is not luck, nor is it chance. It is the deliberate choice to hold thoughts of strength, possibility, and victory even when defeat is screaming in your ear. Training the mind means refusing to be enslaved by external conditions. You must remind yourself that you are not a victim of the environment, you are a creator within it. Your outer world will eventually bend to the strength of your inner world if you refuse to let circumstances define you. Even in moments where everything seems lost, your mind has the power to create a new vision, a new plan, and a new beginning. That inner determination is stronger than any external setback. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges do not exist. It means meeting reality with a stronger force, your mental strength. Instead of surrendering to despair, you declare, I will rise, I will endure, I will rebuild. That declaration begins within the mind long before it is seen in the outer world. Once the mind accepts victory as possible, the body follows, and actions begin to align with that belief. Slowly, the circumstances that once seemed immovable begin to shift under the force of persistence and faith. The storms of life will never stop coming, but the mind that is steady is like a rock in the middle of crashing waves. It is unshaken, unbroken, and unmoved. Circumstances will change, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse, but the power of the mind is constant. The one who learns to master thoughts masters destiny, for no circumstance is stronger than the one who refuses to bow to it. When you hold your mind above your circumstances, you hold your life in your own hands. Persistence is the bridge between the life you have and the life you dream of. It is the force that refuses to let failure have the final word. No matter how many times you are knocked down, persistence whispers, try again. No matter how many doors close, persistence pushes you to knock on another. Life will test you, break you, and sometimes strip you of everything you thought was secure, but persistence is what allows you to turn endings into beginnings, losses into lessons, and setbacks into setups for something greater. Every person faces moments where everything seems lost, where the future appears dark and uncertain. In these moments, the easiest path is to quit, to accept defeat and surrender to despair. But the truth is, endings are not final. They are opportunities disguised as failures. Persistence is what uncovers those opportunities. When you refuse to give up, you discover possibilities you never imagined. You learn that what seemed like destruction was actually construction, tearing down the old to make room for the new. Without persistence, you remain stuck in the rubble. With it, you rise and rebuild stronger than before. Persistence creates new beginnings because it transforms the way you view obstacles. Instead of seeing them as barriers, you begin to see them as redirections. A closed door may simply mean a better one waits ahead. A rejection may be protection from something not meant for you. A failure may be the training you need to handle success. Only through persistence do these truths reveal themselves, because persistence keeps you moving forward long enough to discover what lies beyond the struggle. Consider the seed buried in the soil. At first it is hidden in darkness, covered by weight, pressed down by earth, yet it does not give up. Day by day it pushes, it stretches, it breaks through layer after layer until one day it reaches the surface and blooms into life. That is persistence, the steady, unwavering force that transforms pressure into growth and darkness into light. Without persistence, the seed would rot beneath the soil. With persistence, it becomes a tree. Your life works the same way. The challenges pressing down on you today are not there to bury you, but to grow you. The persistence to rise again, to try once more, to believe when all seems lost, that is the very thing that will birth a new chapter. Every time you get back up, you signal to life that you are not finished. You prove to yourself that your spirit is stronger than your circumstance. And with each act of persistence, you step closer to the beginning of something greater than what you left behind. The truth is simple. Failure is never permanent unless you quit. Loss is never the end unless you refuse to rise again. Persistence is the key that unlocks fresh opportunities and opens the way to transformation. When everything falls apart, persistence gives you the courage to build again. And in that rebuilding, you do not simply return to what was, you create something new, something stronger, something destined to last. The message of this speech is clear. No matter how dark life becomes, positivity and persistence are the forces that lead us forward. Staying positive when everything falls apart does not mean denying pain or pretending struggles are not real. It means refusing to let circumstances steal your hope. It means understanding that adversity is a teacher, that the mind has the power to rise above any storm, and that persistence can transform endings into new beginnings. Every challenge you face is not the end of your story, but the preparation for a greater chapter. The choice to stay positive gives you strength. The discipline to endure builds your character, and the persistence to rise again shapes your destiny. When everything around you seems to crumble, remember that within you lies the power to rebuild, to overcome, and to thrive. Stay positive, keep faith alive, and use every trial as a stepping stone toward the life you were meant to create.